Men's mental health, a subject that really still doesn't get spoken about enough in the great scheme of things. It's still very much a stigma that we need to break down. We need to break down in this country and allow men and give guys the tools to be able to say, do you know what? I'm not all right. And this is the reason why, or these are the reasons why I'm not all right. 12 men a day in the UK take their lives, which equates to almost 4,200 male suicides a year, compared to 1,400 female suicides. I'm not diminishing that, taking away from that, but you can see the disparity of male suicide in this country. Men between the age of 40 and 49 have the highest suicide rate, and the particularly vulnerable over 50. And being able to share, speak up and break down those stigmas, I think is really important. November is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. Yesterday, November the 19th, was International Men's Day. And I was brought up in a naval family. My dad was in the Navy for a large swathe of my life. And it was almost the stiff upper lip, man up. Obviously, the Navy and the armed forces are geared towards, certainly used to be, I don't know if they are now, almost sort of, I mean, they're indoctrinating, aren't they? I've worked for the company for 25 years. I'm indoctrinated into that society, you know. But my dad, I have no qualms about saying this. I'm absolutely certain my dad had post-traumatic stress disorder from the Falklands conflict. He would never speak about the Falklands conflict, and would shut any conversation down around that. He was on HMS Plymouth. His ship was hit by a torpedo. He would have seen things that I will never understand, and they had a huge effect on my dad, I believe. And that was 82. I would have been 7, and yeah, he never spoke about anything. It's only now, when you look back in adult life, that you realise these things. And I was ignorant. I was ignorant to the fact about men. Man up. It's in your head, mate. You're depressed. Just a bit sad, aren't you? Just a bit sad. Fucking put a smile on your face. Cheer up a bit. Ignorant. And you're ignorant in life until you go through your own traumas, your own things that destroy your own mental capacity to be able to operate on any human level. And until you go through those things, certainly for me, I was ignorant. I was ignorant to the fact that men could suffer with mental health problems, of what whatever's caused it, you know, and to what extent they suffer. Some people can't get out of bed in the mornings. I mean, you go back to 12 men a day. I saw suicide. I'm going to be very honest here. I wanted to do this video yesterday, but I want to do it justice. I've got no notes. Yeah, I've got some statistics, but the rest of it's going to be off the cuff, because I think that's the best way these things come across. I'm going to be very honest. I saw suicide as a selfish way out. The person taking their own life, leaving behind devastation. And I thought that for years and years and years. You're selfish for taking your own life. How dare you? And then you go through your own catastrophic mental episode. And that changed my life, changed my outlook. I went through a horrendous divorce. I've tried recording this video twice. This is the second attempt. Excuse me. I went through a horrendous divorce. And within that divorce was the fight to be a dad and see my son, Archie. Archie, love you. Don't know if you ever watch this. And when a family use a child as a weapon of mass destruction because they've tried everything else. They've tried to destroy you financially. They've tried to destroy you emotionally. What they try, and they're not winning that way. They then use the weapon of mass destruction route, the child. And that had a huge effect on me. But I didn't realise how much of an effect it actually had. The divorce was horrible. I lived in hell for 2 years. She would say she lived in hell as well. But when you've got your mum and your dad attacking as well, through solicitors and coming to stay and making it an oppressive, horrible environment, it affects you. It affects you enormously. And I didn't realise how much it had affected me. Solicitors' emails constantly. I've talked many times about every time my phone pinged, it would be a solicitor's letter. That affected me enormously as well. So all of these things, you go to court. There was 5 court dates for the divorce. There were 6 court dates for I use the word custody. It's not a nice word. The ability to be a dad, should we call it, where you put your hands in your life in the hands of professionals you think are looking after the benefit of the child, and they're not. They're not. The family court service in this country is an absolute abhorrent joke, heavily biased towards the mother. Kafkas are an absolute joke, heavily biased towards the mother. And then you delve into the realms of the child maintenance service, and I've gone on and on about the child maintenance service because 94% of all paying parents are men, contributing £250 million a year in profit to the child maintenance service. Their day's coming. Their day's coming, the child maintenance service. And all of these things had a catastrophic effect on my my mental health. But it took me, and I didn't think it had. I descended into, I used to run, I still run, but I used to run a lot. I run the Brighton Marathon, and during that training, I was drinking fairly heavily. Drinking heavily to mask my mental state, to help me sleep, because I suffered with insomnia. So I was kidding myself that alcohol was helping me sleep when it was helping me get off to sleep. But alcohol's a depressant. You know, it doesn't help your mood. It doesn't help the sleep. You'll get off, but you'll have a terrible night's sleep. But I was ignorant to that fact as well. So you do all of these things. So drinking heavily, putting weight on, generally moody, and I'm not seeing any of this. I'm seeing the things I'm doing to myself. I'm doing to my family, my new family, wandering the girls, because you're so insular, and you're told, and in my mind, men's mental health isn't the thing. It's not a problem. This is just my life now. And I went for a run twice, so training, running, and this is before I moved in here with Wanda. Went for a run twice, and everything in my body's telling me to throw myself in front of the cars doing 60 mile an hour. And that's something I've never gone through in my life. I didn't understand what was going on. So you get suicidal thoughts. But I believe that at the time that you're not allowed to talk about these things. I'd send one messages saying, I'm going to drive off a cliff. But in my mind, that's normal. It's normal behaviour. And that went on for years. It went on for years that that's just my life now. I realised the drink wasn't helping me, and that's something needed to change there. So I cut the drink back down, and I'm in a really good place with alcohol now. I can have it, I can take it, I can leave it. Like a beer at the weekend. Don't drink a huge amount in the week anymore. Maybe if I do a review, I'll have one. But yeah, Andy from being an attorney, he's started doing quizzes on a Tuesday night. So I'll have a couple on a Tuesday night maybe. And obviously, I drive for a living, so I can't be over the limit either. So it's you can't do these things because it has a knock-on effect to everything in your life. So I got myself in order with the alcohol. It took a while. It took a long time. I can't sit and say it hasn't. Me and Wanda have been together 8 years. It probably took 6. It took me 6 years, 7 years maybe, to realise that, you know what, something needs to change here. And then I did something really stupid. And this is ultimately where I really began to realise that my own mental health wasn't what it should be, and that I really probably needed help. I set up a YouTube channel. The amount of arguments I got into on YouTube with people. Well, I should just let it go. I should have just let things go. But in my mind, I had to fight. I had to fight because that's what I'd been conditioned to do through divorce, is fight. Stand up for yourself and fight. Instead of just saying, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what people think of you. It doesn't matter what people are saying about you. But in my mind, I'm like, no, I'm going to fight. And if someone put a comment I didn't like on the channel, I'd retaliate and never go back at them. And, you know, I became almost the enfant terrible of the beer reviewing scene. Beer tube. I hate that fucking term. Beer tube. So, and then I became persona non grata because I'd have a go at people. People would have a go at me. I'd have a go back. That's just, and there's still that in me, but I pick and choose a little bit these days, and I like to think that I deal with things a lot better. And then there's something really stupid. Me and Wanda had an argument, and she went off to her brother's party, and I dumped her on Facebook. And I didn't just dump her on Facebook, I dumped her on YouTube and fucking everything. You know, she didn't know anything about it. And it caused, quite rightly, it caused her a lot of embarrassment. It caused her a lot of embarrassment because she was at a party at the time, and that was probably the straw that broke the camel's back in me thinking. So Wanda came back from the party, refused to speak to me for about 5 days, and do you know what? I can't blame her. I can't sit here and say, well, she shouldn't have done that. I knew instantly I'd done something wrong. But again, I didn't see the after effect, or take into account the after effect of what I'd done. I didn't care. And that was probably the point. It was I didn't care about the things I was doing, and the things I'm doing to myself, to people I loved. You know, it's mad. It's mad how your brain works. So I did this thing, and she refused to speak to me. And I thought, she's marriage is over. And I'm like, well, I can't really blame her for that, can I? Because of what I've done. And then she said to me, you need to seek help. And to begin with, I was reticent, and I was like, I don't need help. What do you need help for? I'm absolutely fine. And she said, no, you need help. You need help. And if you don't seek help, our marriage is over. I thought, wow, okay, that's big. I didn't see that one coming. So I thought, okay, what am I going to do? First, I have to admit I've got a problem. I have to admit that my mental health isn't where it should be. And that's as a man, speaking about this, as a man of now 50 years old, admitting that you have issues that make your day-to-day functioning a little bit more hard than they should be, is difficult. The ability to open up and discuss those things is difficult when it's not something that's come alien to you. So I thought, well, I don't want to go to counselling. I don't want to sit in front of somebody. And I'm not dismissing counselling. I don't think I am. This is just my own personal feelings here. I don't want to sit in front of somebody that hasn't been through what I've been through. How can somebody that hasn't been through what I've been through tell me how I'm feeling? That counselling wasn't for me. So I started looking for something else in my life that I could go to, speak about my problems. And this isn't a advert for Andy's Man Club. This is part of the problem, part of where I've got to. And I'd seen Andy's Man Club around a little bit, and then one of my favourite bands, probably my favourite band, Massive Wagons in Morecambe, they released their new album, and they released a song called Night Skies, and fantastic song, and an incredible video. Go and watch it. I'll link it down below if I remember. And they released a song called Night Skies, and within the video, there was a promotion for Andy's Man Club. It's okay to talk, and I'm like, interesting. This is interesting. So something that I love, Massive Wagons, is promoting something I might potentially need. So I said to Wanda about Andy's Man Club, and I might go. She said, do it. So I did. I went to Andy's Man Club for the first time. I think it was the 19th or 20th of October last year. And it's been the best thing I've ever done, because it gives me the space to open up and talk. It gives me the space to sit there and say, do you know what? I'm not all right. And these are the reasons why I'm not all right. And crucially for me, there's no judgment. Not that there will probably be with counselling. There's no judgment. There's people there. And crucially, there's people that have been through the same thing. So they can sit and listen. They can sit and give some advice if they have any. They can sit and say, hey, I've been through that. This is what I did. And I've absolutely loved going to Andy's Man Club. It's the best decision I've made, apart from marrying Wanda, I'd say, because I genuinely believe my ability now to sit and talk to you about my problems, sit and talk to you and say, hey, it's okay if you're struggling. It's okay for a man as ignorant as I was to sit and say, do you know what, I was wrong. I was wrong to sit and close everything off and be one of the ones that's saying, you're less of a man if you talk about your problems. I was one of those people adding to the stigma of, well, fucking man, why don't you man up a bit? I was one of those people, and I'm so far removed from that ignorant arsehole now. I could still be an ignorant arsehole, but I'm so far removed from that now, I think, that I deal with things much better. not all the time. I'm never going to be 100% perfect. Things on YouTube, I deal with things better. I put things to rest. I'm in contact with people that I fell out with, and I'm very thankful for that, because I made mistakes. I'm sure whether they'd admit they made mistakes, I don't know, but I'm thankful for that. I deal with things a lot better. I don't deal with everything perfectly, and I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to be 100% right, and I defy anybody to be 100% right in this world, but I deal with things better. And having the ability to sit and be able to talk, I talk to a camera. My camera's the other way round. My phone is, I look at the cameras. I don't look at myself, because that way I'm talking to you. I'm not talking to myself. I don't like when you can see somebody talking and they're blatantly talking to themselves. That's just again, that's not having to go at them. It's a personal thing. I like to look directly down the camera and look at you. And that helps me, because it's like I'm talking to somebody. When you talk about male suicide, because I've had suicidal thoughts, there were 5,583 suicides in the UK in 2022. 4,191 of them were male. So 15.1 men, 15.1 people in every 100,000. Suicide rates amongst men have been rising for years, although they fluctuate, obviously, year on year. COVID didn't help. Social isolation, financial instability, mental health struggles, particularly for men, all made the problem even larger than it was before. You still got the stigma around men's mental health. Traditional gender norms and stigma around mental health often prevent men from seeking help. Factually, still true. Men are suppressed, they're socialised to suppress emotions and avoid appearing weak. And this leads to untreated mental health disorders as well. So it's a vicious circle. It's a vicious circle. Depression, anxiety, substance abuse, they're some of the common things that are why men decide to take their own life. However, they're less likely to be diagnosed or treated for these conditions compared to a woman, which doesn't make any sense to me. Relationship breakdowns, divorce and separation can particularly hit men hard, because generally they're the one to move out of the family home, and then they're separated from their kids, they're separated from everything that they've known, and that leads to isolation, it leads to loneliness and financial stress, because you've still got to pay for your kids. I'm clear of the child maintenance service now. I survived. I'm a survivor, very proud survivor of the child maintenance service, because that organisation, their day is coming. Their day is coming for the absolutely barbaric and harassing and bullying nature. 94% of all paying parents of the 700,000 cases open with the child maintenance service are men. Workplace stress and unemployment, and access to lethal means. So a man is more likely to take a more horrific way out, shall we say, by hanging or a firearm, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me. Men's mental health is often overlooked. It's overlooked and it's under-resourced, it's underfunded. Men are less likely to seek help, and when they do, they're often met by services that are more tailored to women and can cause delay. 1 in 8 men in the UK experience a mental health problem. 1 in 8 men. But only 36% of those men with mental health issues will seek professional help compared to 50% of women. So men are still more reluctant to admit and seek help when they probably don't think they've got a problem. Well, they know they've got one, but they don't want to seek it out. And suicide is the biggest killer of men under 50. It's bigger than cancer, and it's bigger than all of the big diseases out there, with mental health being the leading cause of these deaths. So what needs to change? Encouraging open conversations. Open conversation is so important. Open conversation is so important. More initiatives that can encourage men to talk about their mental health can help normalise the conversation, and it's going to reduce the stigma. Normalising these conversations and saying, it's okay for you. If you've got a friend and you say to him, hello mate, you okay? How you doing? And if he's not okay, he can say, actually, I'm not, and this is why. Whereas before, at the moment, you're still going to have that, you know, when your friend, your work colleague, there's something not right. And having the guts to say, actually, no, I'm not all right. And this is why. I know some big, beefy, strong guys that suffer with anxiety. I thought anxiety was a fucking joke. But they suffer with anxiety and it cripples them. And again, I was ignorant to this. Absolutely ignorant to it. And, you know, it's mad. And I can listen. I've learned to listen. I've learned to listen to people. Actually sit and listen. And that's probably the one thing I've learned more at Andy's Man Club than anything. To sit and listen. There needs to be better access to male-centred services. Mental health services tailored specifically to men's needs can help address the unique challenges men face. I think that's critical. I really do. Education. Educating people that... And it needs to come from a young age. It needs to come from a young age, that educating children and men from a young age that it's okay to talk. It's going to break down those emotional barriers and emotional expression, and I think that's key. I think that's another key point, and I think the more we can do that, we can adopt the norm of being okay to say I'm not okay. Workplace support. If you see somebody, a lot of companies have EAPs, employment assistance programs, and they're very good. I've got one at my work. I've used a couple of times. They employ counselling services. If you see a work colleague, you probably spend more time with your work colleagues than you do with your family. So you know your colleagues. If you can see someone struggling, reach out to them. Say, hey, if you don't want to speak to me, these are the numbers you can phone. You've got the Samaritans 24/7. You can even phone from a mobile that's got no credit on it. You can join something like Andy's Man Club. They meet on a Monday, 7 to 9 nationally. Or you can do an online one at Andy's Man Club if there's not one near you. The male suicide crisis in the UK is a very complex and deep issue, but I think it's fixable. But encouraging open conversations, better access to male-centred services, education around young people, which leads into adulthood, and workplace support. I think all these things can help. Can help to break down that barrier, break down the stigmas by encouraging open conversations from males and men. And I use the word men, and that's broad strokeism. But I think it's important. It's important I don't care if this video gets 1 view or 4 fucking million views. I'm going to keep banging on about men's mental health on my channel. Here and there, it's not all the time, I don't ram it down people's throats, but it's so this is so important. If this video goes out to one person, it helps one person, I see that as job done. I don't want somebody to go through what I went through and think you can't talk. 1 male suicide a day is too many. 12 is a national tragedy. 4,000, a lot of them, bang this drum once more, a lot of them attributable to the Child Maintenance Service, although they say no causal link between the CMS and suicide. Facts are facts. Speak up and be brave. Be brave enough to say to somebody, actually, I'm not okay. And this is why I'm not okay. And I think you'll be surprised. I think you'll be surprised at how many... We live in a day and age where things are more tolerated now. Things are more understood now. And you can always send me an email, scottandwander@yahoo.com. I'm always here to listen. And I hope this video has been interesting. I've tried to be a little bit candid and honest about my own mental health. I'm in a good place. I'm in a really good place at the moment that I can sit and make these videos and say if I help one person, then my time here has been well spent. Look after yourselves. Consider something like Andy's Man Club. There are you've got the campaign against living miserably. Boys Get Sad Too. You've got PAPA, People Against Parental Alienation. All really, really good services that are out there. You've got the Samaritans if you need them. But if you're struggling, reach out. Say to somebody, I'm not okay. And hopefully you'll get the help and understanding that you deserve. Have a great day. See you soon.